Driver's name is Arthur Shea. Former Medford police officer, 57 years old. Soon as his partner leaves with the coal bag, Artie cracks the Herald, and he don't look up till the guy gets back. Nicky McTellier, Cummins Armored Courier. 5'10", 220, 52 years old. Picks up every Wednesday and Friday at exactly 8:12. Makes 110 a day, carries a Sig 9. And he's about to get robbed. We're fucked if we see a helicopter, we're fucked if we see SWAT. We see a cruiser, stop, take out the engine blocks, keep moving. No one needs to get hurt.
These gods like to test you, though, and if they want to get hurt for $10 an hour, don't get in the way.
Let's go. All right, everybody down on the fucking ground.
Put your hands up.
Put your hands up, Buster. We're stealing your dough. All right.
Gentlemen, you can't fight in here. This is the war room.
You can't handle the truth. King Kong ain't got shit on me. I am the third revolution.
I'm so much crazier than you.
I am the one who knocks.
Go ahead. Make my day.
Best thing, big boy, huh? That's Brock. Fucking
Everybody on? Good. Great. Grand. Wonderful.
Welcome to Facing Off, a podcast in which what do we do, Gabe? We talk about movies, rate, review. What do we do again? Can you explain to me what we do on our podcast?
Yeah. On Facing Off, we take two movies we find to be similar and we compare, contrast, and rate them.
Sorry, my toonie co-host, Gabe, let me know that I wasn't
You're a fucking toonie, dude. You're a fucking yuppie.
But I'm Big Nick, and welcome to Facing Off. We have a great episode for you today, as long as the internet holds up, because we are still distanced socially.
Oh, we're so distanced, dude. Hey, Nick, how
you know
you
what?
doing?
We're not distanced socially. We're distanced physically. Socially, we're closer
Spiritually,
than ever.
we are, like, intertwined. It's beautiful.
Spiritually, we did the fusion dance from Dragon Ball Z, so our spirits are fused.
Up? For sure.
Straight up, dude. We're Gabe Vegeta.
Yeah.
That'd
What's up, man?
Fused with Vegeta. I'm all right, man. I'm hanging in there.
You're on, like, a spring break right now, right?
Yes. I'm taking the week to decompress and recalibrate. And
recalibrating.
another big multi-syllabic word for just chill, because this is insane.
Yeah.
How are you?
It's not great. I'm doing all right. Working from home is not a big deal to me. I also just have the coolest boss in the world. We're both really lucky to have really cool bosses. And
we do both have really cool bosses. And it's just
such a stark contrast to my boss before. Jeff, if you're listening to this, fuck you, dude. Anyways, do you have any like specific shout outs? I know you don't, but I'm gonna ask every time.
This week I'm gonna shout out. Nah.
All right, well,
I'll have one next week.
Shout out to all healthcare professionals, delivery people, and those in the food service industry right now. I'm a better person, and that's why I'm saying that. But no, seriously, shout out to you guys. You guys are holding this country up, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of it. Oh, I have an email from my mom. It's a very quick one this time. Thank God, because the lady types. She be typing. And you know what? My phone is broken apparently, and I can't do anything.
Straight up though, I have a quick question. Does your mom do video therapy?
She definitely does, I think, but she's doing most of her therapy right now. My mom is a psychiatrist, for anybody that doesn't know her, which I hope is a lot of you, because that means we brought in a lot of new listeners. But
seriously, if she does video therapy, I might shoot her an email, because I need some tips, because that's my immediate.
Oh, she'd love to give
tips. That's my
tips.
Immediate future.
My mom loves giving tips, dude. She'll give you the tip. So she said her email is about our last two episodes. She said, okay, I listened to the boat. I think, I'm going to have to decipher this because she uses like the voice dictation thing, just like Simran Bains. and my friend Kevin, and it's so infuriating because there's so many errors. And
Dude, Simran does not use video.
or no, he uses
Or
dictation.
not video, sorry, dictation.
He does.
That's absurd.
It's almost like abusive to his phone because he gets so fired up. But anyways, my mom said, okay, I listened to them both and I enjoyed them very much. I remember having the same impressions about the two fighting movies, the same great acting, but being disturbed by the fighter and slightly bored in the middle of Warrior. Cool, whatever. I know you guys think Superbad is hilarious, but I'm still really thinking it's a guy's movie. I don't remember what my reasons were and lessons. I don't know what the hell she's saying here. And she said, I would have been so offended if boys behaved like those two in high school. So now I'm going to watch Booksmart again. It's more of a girl film, I have to admit, although just raunchy enough that guys would like it too. Thanks for the entertainment, Mama Michelle. And I'm not kidding. Entertainment was split up into 2 words. Thanks, Mom. We appreciate it. I also talked to Blake the other day, and it was hilarious. I had a really long FaceTime with him, and he gave us some ideas of movies he wants to do. He can also record remotely. He has equipment. So, but he said, he goes, do you and Nick like live together? Because I was mentioning like we were talking about certain things. I was like, oh yeah, Nick and I were talking about that. And I was like, no, dude, we are together. We wanted to tell you about that. And Blake went on to his like laughing fit. It was so funny. Anyways, let's get into the podcast.
I'm going to call him. Hold on a second. Remind me to call Gabe tomorrow. Sorry, I'm talking to my phone.
No, Blake, you do this all the time.
Dang it, dude. I just did it to my phone.
I know. I hate
I'm sorry, phone.
I feel so sickened.
You're confused.
Well, today we are doing The Town and Den of Thieves. So Nick, why don't you give us the synopses of these films or these movies? I could have done. Fuck.
We're all over the place. We had some serious, continuing, like they're ongoing technical difficulties that we're working through.
We're having fun, though, dude.
Because this is all we've got.
Yeah.
And we like putting these out for you people, but whatever. The Town is a story. You people. The Town is a story of a bunch of Southie ne'er-do-wellers who rob armored cars and/or banks and wear sick masks. Man, we could really use some of their masks right now.
So sick.
Side note.
Yeah.
Doug McRae is the leader of those bank robbers, and along with his partner in crime, Jam Coughlin.
Dude, his name is Jem. Just say James.
Okay. So anyways, that's an inside joke. Jem Coughlin, they rob a bank to begin the movie, and then they rob Fenway to end the movie. Neither of those robberies goes off without a hitch, however. The first robbery ends with Ben Affleck Ben Affleck plays Doug McRae. I just wrote Ben Affleck in here because I have kind of a man boner for him.
Yeah, who doesn't?
A man boner as opposed to what? Ends with Doug McRae tailing the bank manager and eventually falling in love with her, while an FBI agent named Adam Frawley tails both of them. The final robbery, the one at Fenway Park, ends with Jam being shot. Doug escapes with his life, though, while his love interest in the clutches of the FBI tips him off, and then Doug leaves her his earnings from the heist.
Yep.
That's The Town. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of other characters, but I wanted to make these
No, that's great.
Den of Thieves is a story of literally the most aggressive and least professional cop in the entire world. Yeah, his name is Big Nick. And he hunts down, but is eventually thwarted by the crew of bank robbers that is in this movie. After Big Nick puts his thumb on the getaway driver, he thinks he's nailed down the crew's plan, but he's wrong. The crew takes hostages, kills a hostage, and almost escapes with their lives, but they don't. They die, most of them. Only the getaway driver, Donnie, gets away as Big Nick comes to the realization that Donnie really was in the driver's seat, both literally and figuratively, the whole time.
Wow. That's sick. I don't think they killed the hostage. I think that was to fuck with everyone in the bank and the police.
How do we know?
I thought they show her at some point.
Do they?
I thought they showed her when
oh, shit.
Big Nick goes in.
just like elbowed my microphone. Sorry.
Anyways, yeah, those are great synopses.
I don't know, man.
We should have, I guess, said spoiler alert in case people really wanted to see Den of Thieves. I do think it's a dope movie. It's just dumb. And the end is...
Hey, it's not streaming on anything. Don't you go and rent it unless you've got a podcast to record.
Yeah, true. Okay, well, we are going to break these two movies down using our rating scale in 5 categories. Our rating scale is 1 to 7 for each of these categories. 1 is the lowest. 4 is so far in the middle that it's average, and then 7 is the the most elite. 7 is the best. So our 5 categories today, and here's the order, Nick. Acting, eye candy, spectacularity, originality, and legacy. Let's start it off with acting. I can get it started. I'll do the town. Acting is where we talk about the performances, how good was the acting, and then did the writers and directors give the actors the tools that they needed to perform at the best of their abilities.
Well, Ben Affleck gave Ben Affleck all the tools that Ben Affleck needed.
Yeah, right, because he's just every part of this. Dude, Ben Affleck...
he is the director and the lead actor in the town.
And not only that, Ben Affleck is a man, baby. He is a man.
He's a man,
He is
baby.
hulking. I think... overall, I think the movie is appropriate. I think overall the movie is like appropriately emotional, and it's also awesome in all of its acting performances. Not a bad performance in the whole movie. Some may be kind of spotty, but like nothing bad. I think Jeremy Renner and Ben Affleck are like iconically awesome in this movie. They are so fun to watch. It's one of the most believable Boston movies, and since I went to school out there, like, I watch a lot of Boston movies. I try to act like I am, like, you know, a townie, but really I'm a toonie or whatever.
You're a toonie, dude.
Yeah. The monologue that Ben Affleck gives about his father and about his mom walking out and his father, which is like a really famous monologue at this point, is incredible. It's really sad. His accent is almost exaggerated, even though he's from Massachusetts, but it's so good. Whereas, like, Jeremy Renner has the best non-Massachusetts person Boston accent I've ever heard. He's from Modesto, California, dude. And
Modesto, really?
Yeah, he's from Modesto. The part when he
played Modesto in water polo in high school.
Oh, Modesto's disgusting.
Yes.
Shout out to our
it is.
Modesto listeners. Anyways, the part, oh my God, he's so agitating and like scary, but also so good. Even just the way he walks into a room is so interesting, and the way he wears his clothes and stuff. Like,
dude, Ben Affleck is straight up a talent.
Oh, I'm talking about Jeremy Renner, but yes, Ben Affleck is really cool too. Sorry,
all I can think about since I watched this movie is Ben Affleck.
Apparently, we're not even talking about his side dick in this movie. Dude, the part when Ben Affleck walks in, he's like, I need your help with something. You can't ask me questions. You can't ever talk to me about it later, but we're going to hurt some people. And Jeremy Renner just looks at him and he goes, whose car we taking? Dude, that scene is insane. And then he goes, there goes college soccer, when he like caps the dude in the kneecaps.
Dude.
But I will say it's not a 7 for me. I'm giving it a 6 out of 7. I like Jon Hamm's performance. Do not get me wrong. I think it's great. But there are certain parts, like there's a part, like anytime he's being briefed on something, it's like he's like trying to act for the camera. And I know he is literally trying to act for the camera, but it feels like he's trying really hard. There's a part when they like Titus Welliver, who's really good, the guy who plays his partner, or not really his partner, kind of his subordinate, who's great in Gone Baby Gone, and he has a show called Bosch. On Amazon. It's called Bosch or something. It's very famous. But when he's like, he gives him all the information about the guy at Vericom, and he just goes, Jesus Christ. It's like it's so dumb.
I feel like Jon Hamm has that tendency. This isn't the first time we've talked about Jon Hamm not being a bright point in something, is it? Have we done that before?
I don't think we have.
I just got deja vu.
Is that good of an actor outside of Mad Men?
Ooh, that's a harsh
he's
take.
amazing.
He's good in
I
other
think he's
stuff.
good. I don't think he's great. I actually think he's better in comedic roles.
He's really good in that Black Mirror episode.
Oh yeah, so like TV, he's also great. When he's more comedic, I like him. Oh, we didn't
But,
even talk.
okay,
I haven't
so-
even talked about the girls in it, but go ahead. Sorry, I've been
I don't
talking.
think he's. I'll talk about him. I don't think he's bad enough to knock this rating down, so I gave it a 7.
Whoa, interesting. I just don't think
Because
it's any of the best acting I've ever seen.
But I feel like so I feel like, well, okay, so I I read a couple. I had to formulate this because I read this like right before we started working through all these technical glitches.
It's still glitching.
No, for sure, but it's fine. I can still hear you.
But we're having
Ben
so much
Affleck-
fun, we can't stop now.
Ben Affleck is really good at directing actors because he's Ben Affleck. He's an actor.
Totally agree.
And I think that is the like saving grace of this movie because it's such a character driven movie, even though it's like a heist movie. And I couldn't think of anyone that would truly knock this down because like John Hamm's not perfect in this, but I don't think he's bad.
Even the rapper
think
Slane is awesome. The driver.
What character is he?
He's the driver.
He's the driver.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah,
He's like, you know me, I can take a pinch.
Didn't even know he was a rapper. So he must have been decent because I definitely knew 50 Cent was a rapper in Den of Thieves.
God.
And he's so bad. But I don't think that anyone knocks this down. Like acting, directing, writing are all like the focal point of the movie. Besides like one huge thing that I'll include in spectacularity that I thought was a really cool thing this movie did. But like I feel like Ben Affleck killed it, both directing and acting. And this is like far and away, like you said, Jeremy Renner's best role. He's like such a presence whenever he shows up on camera, and you just immediately feel tense because you know he's like the loose cannon.
Yeah.
And he's so good at being the loose cannon in this. And then
I thought
Blake
both-
Lively is.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
that's what I was going to say. I was going to just, like, you can keep talking. I wanted to say, like, the actresses are really good. This is the only movie that makes me think, like, hey, maybe Blake Lively is a good actress.
That's what I was about to say. She's finally good in something.
I love when she's like,
she's
and
not
so
like
they can, like,
amazing.
fucking talk shit. And then she's like, there he is, Mr. 6 inches, which no one has ever said to me because I have a 3-inch wang. Anyways, Nick, what were you talking about?
Rebecca Hall is also like sneaky great in this.
She's amazing.
And
It's her
also-
best role, for sure.
Really cute.
Oh, she's so insanely attractive in this one, and I didn't expect that.
No. But she's really good.
Yeah.
And she is like a very important role in this movie. And I feel like the direction from Ben Affleck is like really obvious in Renner's performance and in her performance because they have like very pivotal scenes where they say a lot without talking a lot.
For sure. Ooh,
And I feel
also,
like
wanna
that's
say,
the mark of good directing.
Rest in peace to Peter Postlethwaite, the guy who plays Fergie, the florist. He's amazing
yeah.
in this. I was going to
is
do
really
an
good.
impression of him at the beginning because he's like, son, I knew your daddy. Dude, his accent is hilarious. He's a great actor. R.I.P. Yeah, so Nick gave it a 7. I gave it a 6. Let's talk about Den
Yeah.
of Thieves, brah, in terms of acting.
What did you give it?
I gave it a 4. I don't think it's bad.
Okay.
Are we supposed to root for any of the characters? Like, I don't.
No, they're all the worst.
I think in the town, like, Jeremy Renner's a worse character, but, like, I'm almost rooting for him.
It's such a funny. This is a funny matchup because you picked it, right?
Yeah. And I was thinking we could have
Okay.
done Heat, because Heat is a great movie.
Yes.
But I kind of wanted to, like, show why The Town is a good movie.
I totally agree, and I was like, why did we pick these? Because like I read the synopses kind of before without spoilers, and I'd seen The Town before this, but I hadn't seen Den of Thieves, and then I started watching it, and about 5 minutes in, I was like, oh,
Dude, I'm going to talk about it in a second, but they literally copy certain parts of The Town in it.
yeah, the whole aesthetic of it is a carbon copy.
Yeah, let's talk
The
about that in
Town.
a second. Let's talk about the acting at this point. Did you give it a 4?
But I had a thing. I had a transition.
Yeah, sorry.
I also gave it a 4 because the Town is like this character-driven heist movie that is very unique in that sense, and Den of Thieves is very much not that. It's like a heist-driven heist movie.
Yeah.
And the characters are like so secondary, and you just don't give a flaming fart about any of them, dude.
I totally agree. I mean, here's the thing. Gerard Butler is not.
Yeah, I just want to talk about Gerard Butler. 50 Cent is terrible. Everyone else is whatever.
Oh, Pablo Schreiber
What is your opinion?
Awesome. I'm gonna say
fine,
I
he's
think
good.
Pablo Schreiber is fucking awesome, and I don't understand how he's not as famous as his brother. He's a great
It's a
actor.
very interesting name, by the way, because neither of his family members are Latino.
I know, and his brother's name is Leave Schreiber,
half-brother.
who I saw by
Half-brother.
the way,
Paternal-
and he was
paternal half-brother.
Yeah, true. Here's the thing, Gerard Butler
he's good. But
is
what's your take on Butler?
He's not good, but he like plays a great hungover piece of shit like dirtbag. He's such a shit. He eats like an absolute animal in every scene. He's always eating. I kind of love his cockiness when he's talking to the FBI guy. Whenever they get in the arguments, I always really liked it. I didn't understand.
Oh my god,
it.
that FBI guy sucks.
So I have
so
to
bad,
explain
though.
something because I think all of the people that work for Gerard Butler aren't believable, and then I realized they are the LA County Sheriff's Department. They are their own boss. I looked into some of the like what are the differences and stuff, and I could see how they are. That's why they act that way. They're like. They have their own authority. Oh, and then I realized, and I was going to save this for later, but I'll just say it now. On the same point, they keep showing you all different parts of Southern California as if anyone gives a shit that they're in Hawthorne or San Pedro.
Oh my God,
It's because the sheriff's department handles all of LA County, and it's a huge sprawling county, whereas the police department is only LA, the city.
Wow, thanks for that lesson.
Yeah,
if I was
anyways,
a person of color, I'd be horrified.
but here's my problem with Gerard Butler. Make it in this movie, and it's all the writing and directing. Make up your mind who this person is. He's either a piece of shit or they show him crying in his car as if we're supposed to care about him. And I didn't. He's a horrible human being in it. Like top
I
to
kind of
bottom.
forgot he cried.
Yeah, he fucking balls. There's a whole stuff about him and his like kids. Dude, but I gotta say, when he comes in like a wrecking ball, hashtag Miley Cyrus, he like when he shows up at that dinner party, I was like, I'm fully into this. This is great.
At the hibachi grill or
Ridiculous.
whatever?
No. That's a great scene too. I'm talking when he shows up at the like dinner party at that guy's house with his wife's new boyfriend.
Oh, that was okay.
I
that
thought
was
he was
there's-
great in that.
There's like so the reason I gave this a 4 and not anything like higher or lower. Or lower. The reason I didn't give this anything lower, because I really think that it leans toward the lower side in acting, is that there are enough good scenes like that one sprinkled throughout the movie that are like really gripping.
Yeah, and it's
I
because
guess.
of him.
And it's mostly because of Gerard Butler, as obnoxious and ridiculous as I think he is, and as shallow a character as he is written.
Well,
Because
okay.
they try to make him deep, and it's like, dude, I don't care. This guy sucks. This guy's terrible. I don't care
I'm
at
wondering,
all.
what did you feel
about his
about
family.
like O'Shea Jackson Jr.'s, so Ice Cube's son? What did you think about
Dude,
his
I feel like
performance?
he's fine.
Yeah, I didn't like his fucking English accent at the end of the movie.
Oh, terrible. I have
like,
way bigger problems with him.
You work in the diamond district.
Oh, you did, oh yeah?
Hey,
Yeah, I
you
don't
want a beer
like
in it. I don't ever use it properly. I don't know what he's like. Oh,
O'Shea Jackson impersonating British people be like, you want a beer? IN space
it.
IT?
Yeah. Dude, yeah, I agree. I think he's a really cool actor, and I'm excited to see what he does with his career. But this was not.
I don't have really problems with his performance. I have problems with other parts of his character. We'll get to that later.
All right. Well, so we both gave it a 4 out of 7 for acting. I figured this was going to be the one that we talk about the most because there's just so many actors in both. Let's move on to eye candy. Eye candy is where we talk about the visual elements of the movie, cinematography, CGI, I guess, costuming, all that shit. So let's start with Den of Thieves. I gave it a 5 out of 7. I think that it was
Interesting.
For the type of movie that it was. I thought it was aesthetically pleasing. I thought it looked really natural. I thought some of the camera shots were pretty cool. I like some of the overhead shots when they're driving, especially the robbery at the very beginning of the movie in front of the donut store.
Definitely.
I think some of the bank robbery scenes in general are really cool looking. I think it's not, they don't do anything. There's no annoying film edits or CGI that takes me out of the movie. And that's probably because it had like a $30 million budget, but I thought it was a proper use of that budget. I like I don't know. I don't think it's very visually creative or special, but I do think it's slightly above average for this type of movie.
Sounds like you should have given it a 4 because that's what I gave it. What's your favorite color, Gabe? What's your favorite color?
Oh, are you saying that there's one color palette throughout the whole movie?
What is your favorite color?
I don't know. I actually don't have a favorite color because I'm not 10. I think it's black or like I like blue.
You've never been on
green
an
and
awkward
purple.
first date?
What?
What's your favorite color?
Okay.
Where's your favorite place to go?
Blue. Why? What are you
Well, the
getting at?
color palette in Den of Thieves is just yellow and green. The whole freaking movie, dude.
I didn't think it was that weird of a color palette.
I thought it was so annoying. There are a couple scenes that are just green and a couple scenes that are just yellow, and I hate that about movies. And the
Interesting.
town, honestly, to be fair, gets the same kind of knock from me.
Oh.
But a lot of the heist scenes are pretty engaging visually. I don't have much to knock it for, but I also don't have anything to praise it for, so I gave it a 4.
All right. I mean, I'm going to stick with a 5 because I actually enjoyed looking at it. I thought if this movie didn't look good, I would not ever watch it. I would have turned it off the first time, especially since it's 2.5 hours long. But anyways, what did you give the town for eye candy?
The town I gave a 5.
Okay.
Because I think that visually it's more engaging. It's less filtered into green and yellow, but it is mostly filtered into blue, it looks like.
Oh, it is
I don't
kind
know
of
why.
blue. Yeah.
It's super blue.
It is blue.
Why do movies do that? As a broader, I just noticed that a lot.
Oh,
with
here's
these
the
two
one.
movies.
Here's the one. Or two
What is that?
exceptions. Two exceptions. But one main one. David Fincher, when he does it, I love it. I think it works for his style. But his movies could only be his movies.
Fair.
Steven Soderbergh does it. Sometimes it works for me. Sometimes it doesn't. Denis Villeneuve doesn't always do it, but when he does, I dig. Ja feel. All right. I don't know. So, you know what I really like about The Town? And this is something that I kind of knock a movie normally, but I think it does it really well, is I like the helicopter shots of Boston. I think, and Cambridge. I think that Ben Affleck really nailed exactly what Massachusetts looks like, and he did it effectively with those drone and like helicopter shots.
Yeah, so let's compare that. Whereas in this movie, in The Town, we get, like, this is Boston, and this is what it looks like, and now we're going to all talk in accents and talk about how this is Boston.
Yeah.
In Den of Thieves, it's like, this is Hawthorne. This is San Pedro.
Right.
This
Well,
is-
okay. So, but I was really annoyed by that too.
And
I
it has the
hated
little-
title cards or whatever. Or,
Dude, and they were so small and, like, weirdly in the bottom left-hand corner.
I think the point.
does
I think
that?
the point of that was to show how sprawling the sheriff's department
LA is?
Well,
Yeah, I
LA is,
know.
but what the sheriff's department like reaches. I agree with you. I will say I didn't know this until this. I paid more attention. I've seen The Town probably like 15 times. I paid attention way more to the filming in this one, and I really, really like some of the shots. There's a spinning shot outside of Fenway, right? When the cops are out there and they're trying to figure out what's going on inside. The heists are awesome. It bounces back
Yeah.
and forth from security footage to not, and they cut the audio too, which is really cool. And then I think it's like aesthetically natural looking. I don't think it looks. I could see the blue tint, but I like the way that
it's
people
not as
look.
it's not as obvious to me as Den of Thieves.
Totally. But I didn't know it was Robert Elswith that did this. And that's like the cinematographer that does almost all of Paul Thomas Anderson's movies. Like There Will Be Blood, he won Best Cinematography.
Oh, interesting.
He did like Punch.
I
Drunk
read a
Love.
review that called his cinematography hard boiled.
Oh, interesting. Is that good?
Do you know what that means? I have no idea. Do you know what that means?
I don't know, but I like hard-boiled eggs.
I do too.
But
Do you know
do
how to
I
make 'em?
prefer them to poached eggs? No. So is like poached eggs like Roger
Side note,
Deakins?
have you ever tried to make hard boiled eggs?
Yeah.
What a pain.
Yeah, but it's way worse to make soft-boiled eggs.
Yeah, but who
French
makes
people do
what
that,
kind of-
okay? And it's
what kind
a
of
delicious,
psychos make
thing to do in
soft-boiled
the
eggs?
morning. Anyways, The masks, I'm going to point this out because this is a visual element. The masks in it are awesome. And all
So
the
good.
outfits are awesome. It's a really, really well-made movie that Ben Affleck should get more credit for his producing in it.
Absolutely.
Anyways, that was a 6 for me, actually, out of 7. And a 5
Interesting.
for Nick. I actually had it at a 5, and I moved it up. Mostly I'm biased because when I saw Robert Elswith was the one who did it, I was like, wow, I love his other movies, so I must love this. But there were some shots that I really liked.
Bias, dude.
There's some
we try
sick-
not to be biased.
There's some really cool shots in it. Anyways, let's
All
do
right, and D of
spectacularity.
T's gets a 4 and a 5.
Yeah.
And the town gets a 5 and a
For
6.
eye candy.
Okay.
Let's move on to spectacularity, which is where we talk about the engagement level of the movie, whether we are distracted and worried about runtime. Let's start with the town. I think it's a little easier. I give it a 6.
Yeah.
I'm pretty. I could be convinced to give it a 7. I think it's really, really engaging. I remember loving the trailer when I first saw it, so I was so excited when I first saw it, and I walked out of the theater just like loving this movie. They rope you in immediately. They give you those quotes about Charlestown that are amazing. So anyway, by the way, I had this. You know what? I'm gonna save this for originality. But anyways, then they start with like
Spoilers.
with an awesome bank robbery. Like it just goes straight into the robbery. It's great, and then it says, and they let her off at the beach, and it says the town, and I'm like, oh boy, I'm in. And then they also show you immediately how much of a loose cannon Jeremy Renner is, and so you are
Yes.
so engaged because you're like, this guy is gonna fuck everything for them, and he's gonna kill people, and then it's like interspersed with like honestly a very believable romance story. And
Yeah.
one thing I'm really happy about is that they could have distracted us. They could have taken me out of the movie if they made it a love triangle. And I respect the hell out of Ben Affleck for not making John Hamm's character like a romantic threat to him or whatever. That would have been lame, and we've seen that plenty of times. Dude, one of the best heist movie scores of all time. And this score is like really underrated. It's really,
is.
really good.
I thought the same thing. Yeah.
The cat and mouse game with John Hamm is awesome. You're getting both sides of it, so you're always in it. Yeah, you go ahead. I have like a couple other things, but I'll bring it up after.
No. I mean, like, just like building off of that, one of the things that I noticed is that you don't really know, like you don't really think of the movie as a heist movie, which is really interesting because it absolutely is.
Yeah.
Like it's totally just a heist movie.
Except for
But
the scenes with the heists are the only times that you realize that you're in a heist movie. Yeah, that's a great
because you
point.
never ever know what their plan really is.
Yeah.
You get little, and that's like a huge part of the. I had a hair in my mouth. Sorry, that was gross. Oh, gross, dude. Isn't that the worst?
There are worse things. Coronavirus being one.
True. Yeah, it could be. That's what I thought too. It's amazing that you just don't really know what is about to happen in the scene. Like you get like an inkling that Fenway is involved because they go on their like little boys trip to Fenway and they're like,
Check it out. And
they're, like,
that is an
talking.
awesome area of Fenway. It's like a bar area that you can oversee the whole park.
yeah, it
And
looks
that's what
pretty
they're
rad.
standing at. Yeah, it's really cool.
Once
It's the
there's no
best
more
part of Fenway.
coronavirus, I really want to go to Boston.
You should. Fuck,
and
and
go
you
to
didn't
Fenway.
go when I was there.
I know, dude. It just didn't work. I went to Chicago instead.
Boom.
It's a really cool thing that keeps you engaged in the movie because I think that one of the knocks on this movie, not from me or from you, Gabe, but like maybe for some other people, might be that the movie is kind of too character driven and that it's like almost
I
can be
get that.
boring. I
Yeah.
think to some people. So I also gave it a 6. I just don't think that it really is like thoroughly enthralling. Really interesting that Affleck's original cut was 4 hours.
Dude, I was talking to Berg, our previous guest, and I mean, he loves this movie too, and he was saying that he watched the extended cut. No, I don't think it's the 4-hour version, but it's
No,
definitely
the
long.
extended cut's like 250.
Yeah, he said it doesn't. There's like, it helps some of the context, but it's like too much of the romance in it, and there's too many scenes with the FBI explaining things, and he says it ruins the whole mood of the movie, and it's not better.
Yeah, I think it's because Affleck wanted to go really buy the book because I think he liked the book, which is called Prince of Thieves.
Oh, I forgot that this was based off of a book.
Yeah, it's based on a book. So he said the
Is it
theatrical
about Robin
release.
Hood?
I don't know. Yeah, it's called Prince of Thieves, but I mean, it's like, did I look at my phone a lot? No. Did I look at my phone once in a while? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I
It's
can
just
see other people. That's a good point that other people might.
not always thoroughly, but yeah, thinking from another person's perspective. I'll talk about that in a second too.
But I will
the town I gave a 6. It's not perfect.
I will
in
say a couple
spectacularity.
things like anxiety in the scenes where they want your anxiety to be high.
Oh, they
are high.
just
Dude,
manipulate
the scene
you.
when Jem shows up at the lunch and you're focused in on the neck tattoo and you're like, no, this is like, I'm always freaking out in that scene. The heists are amazing. Dude, I have to explain to you, which you could kind of get from the movie, but I really need to explain. The second robbery where they were wearing the nun outfit is in the north end of Boston. The north end of Boston has the most narrow streets in the entire world. I'm like dead certain they are too narrow. Some of the areas aren't even streets and they look like they might be a street, but they're alleyways. It's like the super Italian area. Dude, getting into a car chase, first of all, robbing someone there is insane, but getting into a car chase in those narrow ass streets is insane, and I'm so geared in.
I love it, dude. That chase is iconic.
Yeah. And also,
But,
Ben Affleck
yeah.
just knows how to make a movie just cool. It's so cool to watch. And so I'm always engaged in
is.
that way. But anyways, yeah, I gave it a
Totally.
6 out of 7. I don't think it's like perfect, spectacular.
No.
otherwise.
I don't think so either. Den of Thieves is very far from perfect.
Yeah.
To
What'd you give
transition
that?
to that one, I gave it a 3.
Okay.
It is far too long. It is 2 hours and 28 minutes or something like that.
It's really long.
It's way too long. Its original cut was 160 minutes.
That's so... Den of Thieves.
Like, what
know
kind
what
of
type you hired 50 Cent to be in your movie.
Who
know what
directed
type
this
of movie
movie?
you're in.
The director was the writer too, right? I forget his name, but like
I never even like heard of him.
I haven't either. But like, dude, who do you think you are? 160 minutes for this like blockbuster? Like, I don't know. It's
I write too many notes.
It's like you do, but
I'll pare it
it's
down.
like a glorified like what's his name? Transformers director
Michael Bay.
Michael Bay.
Yeah.
It's a glorified Michael Bay movie.
It's more
just
like
too
a
much.
glorified like Michael Mann movie, like the guy who did Heat and
Yeah, and like the end,
Collateral.
dude. I'm sorry, but spoilers. If it takes you forever, it takes you 2 hours and 28 minutes to find out that it was just Ice Cube Jr. the whole time.
Yeah, and like there's not really any clues that lead you to that conclusion. And it's
No.
so bonkers like how they end it that it almost felt like a joke. And I hate it. I mean, okay, so I actually gave it a 5. I gave it a slightly above average. I might move it down to a 4. I think it's pretty engaging. I do agree. It is way too long for what it is. I think the opening scene is really awesome, and it's very realistic looking. The shootout in that is very real looking, and it kind of gets you into the movie. Also, Pablo Schreiber is really, really cool, and he's
Yeah,
kind of
he
fun
is
to watch.
such a cool character.
The actual heist is only halfway through the movie. I know it's a long ass movie, but it's only halfway through the movie. And so the last half of the movie is pretty engaging because the heist is actually a lot more intricate than I expected it to be. The whole scene with Donnie in the count room at the Federal Reserve is like my heart was racing and I knew what would happen. The shootout in the parking lot is really, or not the parking lot, but like in traffic is like crazy. Like that's a really good shootout scene in a movie.
Okay, fine.
There's kind of a cool montage when Merriman is explaining to them what the plan is with the Federal Reserve, but it's that whole monologue is really cool, but it's interspersed with the cops or the sheriffs or whatever, like being told by Butler all about each of these guys, and that is not really cool. And it's super distracting. And the town does the same thing, but the town's one is like really interesting. And they're not cutting it at the same exact time. Dude, I will say though, the teppanyaki scene, that's like what a Benihana's is awesome. It's like really engaging. It's really fun. I love
But the food there sucks.
Yeah, probably.
We go for the ass.
We go for the ass. And he like looks at his dude. I thought that was his mom, by the way. I didn't know it was his girlfriend until they like show it in the bed, I guess, that he was there. But anyway,
she doesn't look great.
No,
but she's
like,
a prostitute.
They ran out of money. So anyways,
dude, there are no female actor. There's nobody in Den of Thieves.
Oh, yeah.
Who's female? Who is useful in any way, shape, or form?
Oh, you don't think the two girls that are ordering the Chinese food that somehow are part of the English like plan? Dude, did you notice that?
They're all Donnie's people.
yeah.
I don't know, dude.
Anyways, I mean, here's why I'm gonna maybe bring it down.
I was just pissed by the payoff, and I think the end of the movie takes forever.
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna move it down to a 4.
I just can't do it.
I think it's I do think some of it is really cool, but I don't care about the characters, and I think some of that takes me out of it too. So I'm gonna give it a 4 in spectacularity. Let's move on to our next category. What are we gonna do? Originality. Originality is where we talk about how creative the movie was, whether it stands out in its genre, whether it was unique and needed to be made. So I'll start with, I could start with Den of Thieves. I gave it a 3. I don't think it's very creative. I don't think it's poorly written though. I do like that they like basically copy the town where it's like one city has like had one city in Massachusetts or whatever has had like the most bank robberies or whatever, and then it says the town or Charlestown.
Yeah, it's like welcome to the like capital of bank robberies.
But then in Den of Thieves it goes 2,400 times a year,
I know.
44 times a week, 9 times a day, every 48 minutes a bank is robbed here. This is the bank robbery capital of the world. It is though. I didn't know that. But
Los Angeles?
It has gone way down, and that stat is so far off. In 2006, so it's gone way down. I'm sure it's going...
You mean since there were, like, covered wagons?
Yeah. No.
It's gone way down?
It's gone down, like, the last, like, decade. It went down a lot. But in 2016 alone, there were 4,000 bank robberies in all of the United States. There were 460 in L.A. So...
10%?
So relax, like trying to copy the town here. You don't need, just fucking shoot your guns. Don't tell us what you're doing. They try to get like super cute and clever with like the character intros. Like, why do we need title cards for the characters? Just present the characters. They're not like some like boss or something in some game that we all like know. Like, you don't need to tell us that. Also, you don't need to keep telling us where the places are. Like, I get it that it's trying to show how sprawling LA is, but it's like no one that doesn't live in LA is going to give a flying fuck that he lives in San Pedro. Okay? No one cares about San Pedro. No one even knows that it's called San Pedro. Most people would say it's San Pedro.
And even more annoying than the like, this is where you are title cards are the title cards that are like their names.
Yeah.
Like, dude,
this.
I kind of wish that happened when I showed up at places, though.
Yeah, that it just says it. It's like Nick,
like in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, your eyeballs.
That'd be pretty cool. Hey, maybe in the future, dude.
It's just like Nick in the bottom left-hand corner.
What'd you give it?
I gave it.
Okay, actually, I can explain why I gave it a 3 if yours is like a 1.
It's a 3.
Okay.
I mean, it's also a 3. I'm just like, I don't think it's original. I wrote like so few notes for it because it's just so straightforward. It's like it wasn't that guy, it was that guy.
Yeah, I mean, the whole like...
Is the whole movie.
It's like,
it wasn't them, it was
like
him.
Usual Suspects ending type thing. It's like, shut up. If you're gonna do
and then they spoil it because he's like, oh, it's a beer in it, and then it's like, hey, you have a good day, governor, and it's like, what?
Dude, you know what the worst is? The way that he figures it out. The way that Big Nick figures it out is he looks up at a picture, and he looks up at the picture and it's them playing soccer, as if the only way you could be from England is that you played soccer. Oh, football.
And it's like they're all, dude, I don't know. All the Samoan guys.
Okay.
It's just a bunch of cookie cutter characters. And I don't think we've talked enough about how 50 Cent is literally the worst
He doesn't
actor.
really
in this
talk that
movie.
much. I thought he was a lot better in this than he is in Get Rich or Die Trying, which he is awful in. Okay, it's like here's why I'm not giving it lower. I think it's slightly below average because I think some of these parts of it are authentically made. Like, I think that some of them are really interesting in their structure. I especially really, really like the scene where they're gearing up before the robbery. I thought that was really cool. It showed you, like, what's going through, like, cops' minds before something like that, especially when they know. And then the criminals, it was showing them all, like, the guns and everything. It was just, like, a really well-done scene. I just thought the movie was trying to be too cool, and it's a bit messy, and I don't think it reinvented anything.
Yeah, I don't want to say that it's not a bad movie. Like, I want to get that like out there.
Yeah,
it's not
enjoyable to watch, honestly.
It's fine to watch. It's just definitely not original.
Yeah.
I don't know. The
What did
Town
you-
I had a
what
hard
about The Town?
time rating.
Yeah, I did.
The
too.
Heart I had a really hard time because I initially rated it a 6, and then I knocked it down to a 5.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, so I haven't seen Heat.
He is so good, Nick.
I know. I'll watch it. I have plenty of time.
Hey, what's your problem, dude?
Hey, I might watch it tomorrow. Hey, I'm gonna watch
I'm not
Heat for
guapo.
2 hours. Hey, I'm gonna wake up at 4 a.m.
I do
I think
5,000
it's-
crunches. I watch
I
Heat.
do 5,000 crunches. How reminiscent is this movie of Heat? How reminiscent is The Town of Heat?
It's similar. I wouldn't say it's the same. I think he is way more obsessed with the idea. Like, if John Hamm was in more of the movie, I think it would be like Heat.
Okay.
And the thing about Heat is there are issues within their crew. They're not like best friends. In this, they're like, they've grown up together. They're loyal.
Yeah.
And it's like,
They
well,
don't-
that's because it's a Boston movie, and every Boston movie has to talk about loyalty.
Yeah, that's weird.
I do agree with you. I don't think it's breaking any new ground. I think that Affleck.
No, I ended up giving it a 5, but I almost gave it a 4 because I read about how similar the plot is to Heat, and
I don't think it's
it's
that
based on a
similar.
book. It's based on a book, and Ben Affleck made his original, like, full version of it very much similar to the book, apparently.
Okay.
And also, the iconic car chase scene is iconic, but it's also a copy of a different car chase scene. Everything about it is copied from another film.
Yeah, but the car chase scene is fucking. It's in North End though. Like the context.
I think
of
the
it is
other
crazy.
car chase scene is in Europe because it's a European
Yeah,
director.
Europe is
I think he's
crazy
Spanish.
too. I'm telling you, North End is.
No, it's literally copied. Like, Ben Affleck called the director of the other movie and was like, I copied your car scene. I love it.
Oh,
Your chase scene was incredible.
Okay, I do have to say though,
So he-
Massachusetts drivers are also the worst in the entire world, and so it is. You have to take that into account. But yeah, that's
True,
fucked up.
but I mean, all that
Good
being
point,
said,
good
I
point.
think it's a unique heist movie. I think it rarely tells you what's going to happen, which is really cool for a heist movie because they're all like, this is what we're going to do. And that's like the whole thing. But this is like very much a character driven movie. And I love those. Some other people don't. But I think it has a nice little wrap up at the end too. And that callback line where she's
this side of the other,
Rebecca
and
Hall.
the
No, where she's talking about
that'd
My
be one of
Sunny Day.
days, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I just think that it's really kind of original in all of those elements, but like, you know, overall it's taken from some other source material.
So I appreciate that, and I actually I almost want to adjust. I'm still giving it a 6 out of 7 because I think that it takes heist movies to a new emotional level, and I love what Affleck put
And
into
that's
that.
exactly why I didn't give it anything like a 4 or a 3 after I learned about all of
I mean, it's just
the
such
things that
a
it takes
yeah, fair. I mean, I think it's just such a human movie. It's about familial grief, people abandoning you, and where does your loyalty and family lie? It's about
and
substance
every
abuse.
character has at least a couple levels. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, even the most straightforward, even Blake Lively, where you're like, oh, she's
And
blah.
she's all the characters also want to grow. I mean, aside from Jeremy Renner, it's all about
end up unfolding like different levels in every character, and that's like a really cool thing that not many heist movies do.
I also think it's really authentic to Charlestown. He cared a lot about like the history of Charlestown, like bank robbery history aside. So this is what I was going to say earlier. So when I started at BC Law, like the first day I met this guy named Mike Troy, who ended up like being a friend through it. Shout out Mike Troy. You're definitely not listening to this because you don't follow us or follow me on Instagram. But when I asked him, I was like, where are you from? He's like, oh, I'm like pretty local. I live in Charlestown. And I go, oh my God, like the town? And he goes, yeah, but it's not like that anymore, okay? And then I was like, he's like, it's gotten a lot better. It's like really
God, I hope
gentrified.
so.
And I was like, yeah, I mean, that's great. But that is funny. But he says it is like a great movie and it is authentic. Dude, I was talking to Kevin's dad. So Kevin's dad used to be a lieutenant in the San Jose Police Department. And we watched this movie at Kevin's house, and his dad was like, that shootout in Fenway is one of the most realistic police shootouts he's ever seen. He was like, the way it was structured and everything, it was very authentic. Wow. I also love when he goes into I love the whole thing with Ben Affleck explaining the backgrounds of each character they're about to rob because he did his research. But there's the part where he bangs on the thing. He's like, Arthur, also married to Linda. And he's like, the Lindas want you home. I love that line. I think the quotes are incredible in this movie.
The dialogue is excellent.
Oh, I got one thing that bothers me. One thing, writing wise.
Okay.
Why the fuck would they rob an institution and like team that they cherish? And there's a part when I get it. The Irish character Fergie says, like robbing taking down the Cathedral of Boston, priceless. Like I get it. He's Irish. He's got no affinity to it. But like they are clearly watching the Sox and they want to go rob it. I don't believe that. But it is
Dude,
dope.
robbing Fenway is the most Boston thing you could possibly do.
Yeah.
But they had the premiere for this movie at Fenway, which is like galaxy brain level Boston.
Yeah, that's pretty sick. But also,
That's, like,
I mean, everyone
next
should
level
rob the
Boston.
Red Sox. They're the greediest team outside of the Yankees. I mean, they're like almost more greedy. This whole Mookie Betts thing is annoying. Anyways, I gave it a 6 out of 7. I thought that he added so much to something that was not an original idea, and I appreciated that. All right, let's move on to our last category, legacy. Legacy is where we talk about like how does this movie stand in the history of movies? What were its lasting impressions? Would you I guess would you rewatch it or whatever? Like how does it stand in your mind? So start out with the town, Nicholas. Why don't you?
You're gonna start off with the town?
Yeah.
Well, let's start with Den of Thieves.
Okay, yeah,
so
I
we can
agree because
end
Den of
on
Thieves
sound.
sucks. And we're gonna
Because I don't have much to say. It has no legacy. I gave it a 2. I'm very angry because I am very cheap that I could not stream this anywhere. I think it's horseshit.
Well, we could have if you kept up your Showtime account.
It's not my fault. I'm not a student anymore.
Hey, it's not
I got
your
my
fault.
BCBA already.
All right.
I'm not in online classes
I went to BC
anymore,
too.
so that's not what that is.
I know.
My Florida Tech email is no longer valid, so I couldn't do it. But I just think it's not a terrible movie, but it definitely like isn't like a movie that people like want to talk and watch about. So I don't know.
So okay, here's the thing.
It's just a 2.
I gave it a 3. It made 80 million, which is pretty good. It's nothing crazy for the type of movie it is, but it doesn't have big stars outside of Gerard Butler.
No.
It's definitely one of those movies that's like audience versus the critics. Because it got like a Metacritic, it was like 49 and 41% on Rotten Tomatoes. The audience is pretty good. On IMDb, it's a 7, which is actually pretty damn good.
That was really high.
Yeah, I think it suffered from trying to be more than it was. I think it could have been shorter and more, just like more action scenes, and it would have been better for some people. I will say there are people that think this movie is absolutely epic. Like Sean Leary, comedian who will be on this podcast soon, like really, really likes Den of Thieves, and he doesn't get why anyone would not like it. I don't not like it or whatever.
I don't. Yeah, I like it.
Some-
62% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes is not bad.
Yeah, it's not great. I mean, it was kind of a chore to rewatch, but I do think the scenes are cool. I do feel like it's a glammed up version of The Town. The rewatchables did it because Shea Serrano's obsessed with it. It's actually a pretty good rewatchables episode.
Oh, cool.
The end left me so fucking annoyed that I almost want to give it a 1 because I hate it. The end is so annoying. Like, way to ruin a like pretty good movie with one of the dumbest twists. And he's like, oh, you work across the street, huh? You wanker. You in it? Like, dude, I hate it. And like, I gotta say this again. The girl who worked in the Federal Reserve and ordered Chinese food from him and was flirting with him was in on the whole plan and is at the bar in England. I don't buy that for a second. Also, all of them had perfect American accents and they're young as shit.
Or maybe they have imperfect British accents.
Who are they? Tom Holland?
Are they British or are they American?
Well, you think that he goes to England afterwards to go rob more?
I think he goes to different places to rob them.
All places with the same bar or whatever.
Yeah, but always under the
houses,
guise
dude.
of being a bartender because bartenders know the most about people.
Oh, that's a good point. Oh, yeah. Oh, I thought he was actually British in the end. But
I don't think
they played
so.
soccer. Like, why did they show us that they played soccer? I'm so annoyed at that.
Who do we know that works at a bar? Doesn't
Clay.
Holly work at a bar?
Clay
works at a bar.
Yeah.
Ask them like how much they know, but like we should ask them like how much do you know about people in there? Could you rob them?
Oh, I mean,
Seems like you might be too busy to
it's
learn
a little
too much about
different
people.
that they are. He's across the street from the Federal Reserve, and employees are going in all the time. Like he even gets a name tag just because someone leaves it. Anyways, I gave it a 3 out of 7. I
gave it a 2.
Yeah. Let's move on to The Town and finish it off. For
The
Legacy.
Town was a really interesting one for me to rate. Legacy because, like, it was only nominated for Jeremy Renner's performance.
Yeah, which
deservedly
is very
so.
surprising. It should have been more than that.
It wasn't nominated for Best Picture, and people don't really. I've come to learn that people don't really seem to like character-driven movies as much as you and I maybe do. Those are my favorite types of movies.
I don't know. This was like pretty popular. This is one of those ones that critics and audiences really like for a movie that I didn't expect that to happen with. Like it got a 93% from critics on Rotten Tomatoes, 85% by audience, which is really good for a movie that's well liked by critics. That's good. And then 7.5 on IMDb and a 75 on Metacritic, which is pretty low on Metacritic, but that's still not bad. I don't know. I think this is like really what launched Affleck's directing career. You know, because Gone Baby Gone is a really good movie, but this launched him into like, hey, we should actually respect him. And then he did Argo, which he wasn't nominated for director, but he won Best Picture as the producer, which is still a really weird Oscar. But I still like Argo, and he's dope. Ben Affleck's dope as shit.
I need to rewatch Argo.
Argo, fuck yourself.
Yeah. What did you end up giving it?
So I'm hovering between a 6 and a 7. I think that this also launched Renner into the like stratosphere of like good actors because he had been nominated already for Hurt Locker as best lead actor, but I don't think anyone was like crazy about that role. He is so good in this, and in any other year that he's not going against previously shouted out person Christian Bale in The Fighter, he would have won.
Speaking of The Fighter, did you know that Affleck wanted Mark Wahlberg to play Jam?
Dude, that would have sucked. He would need to be such a loose cannon, and Mark Wahlberg is an okay actor, and he's almost a loose cannon.
He couldn't have pulled it off.
Yeah, he's like almost there with The Departed, but he's more like sophisticatedly an asshole in The Departed.
Right. I gave it a 5. I think
dude, it made a lot of money. It made $154 million off of a $37 million budget. That's and for a character-driven movie to get 83 or 85% from the audience and 157 million or 154 million is pretty damn high. Also,
Okay.
dude, I forgot how iconic the score is. When I was like watching it, I paused it and went into the other room, and I was like humming the score. It's really, really good. And I forgot how like that last song or whatever that is playing is like so good when he's like, see you again, this side or the other. Also, it just gets better and better. Subjectively, it's almost a 7 because I love this movie so much, and it gets better and better each time. But I'd say objectively, I'd give it a 6. It is
I'm still gonna give it a 5 because it didn't for what it is. It just didn't get the nominations, and I don't know.
It should have.
I think
The Fighter got nominated, which is a great movie, and I was happy with its nomination. I really think this should have been nominated. That was the year.
I would agree.
That I think was the only year that we've had 10 nominees. It wouldn't have won because again, The Social Network should have fucking won, and it didn't. It lost to King's Speech, which is a great movie, but not The Social Network. But yeah, I'm gonna give it a 6 out of 7.
All right, so I'm gonna give it a 5,
All right, dude.
and that's where we're at, and that's what we've got.
And that's it.
My The Town is 28. My Den of Thieves is 16, I think.
Wow. The Town is 29 out of 35, and Den of Thieves is 19 out of 35, which is way higher than it probably deserves, but I do enjoy it.
100% it is. So that's a 35 for Den of Thieves,
Damn.
and a
is not
57.
Nice. I mean, The Town's
For,
great.
The Town.
Honestly, I'd give The Town like a higher percentage in my mind, but you have
Great matchup, honestly. I didn't get it at first, why you wanted to match these, and then I was like, oh, Den of Thieves just seems to be copying the aesthetic of
I wanted
The
to get
Town.
back to like a good versus bad type of movie, and
I
even
like
though
it.
the Den of Thieves isn't bad, it's not good.
It was a good one.
Let's do some accolades, and we've ramped this up. If you didn't listen to our last one,
We've ramped this up.
We've ramped it up.
We ramped this up. It took us
ramped it
15
up.
minutes. We woke up at 4 a.m.
So let's start out with MVP. I think there's a very clear MVP.
Yeah, it's Jeremy Renner.
Oh, I was gonna go with Affleck because of everything that Affleck does.
Because he did so much.
Because he proved he's a great director. He killed his performance, and this is at a time that people weren't really trusting Affleck anymore as a leading guy. He'd been in some like shittier roles. And he gets away with it in the end. If we're talking about Doug McCrae, Doug McCrae is like one of the coolest characters. He even says, fuck you. But then John Hamm's like, Claire, we are a national organization. It's like, no shit, dude. You're the FBI. You don't need to tell us.
He's the worst.
Interesting. So not unanimous.
I gave it Jeremy Renner. No, I don't think that. I do agree that Ben Affleck is incredible in like what he did for The Town to like make it happen. I just think Jeremy Renner's performance is like should get more accolades. It's unfortunate that he went up against the people that he did when he was nominated.
Yeah, because like
for
even
this
if it
movie.
wasn't Christian Bale, I'd probably still give it to like Jeffrey Rush, who was so good in King's Speech.
Yeah,
I also thought Andrew Garfield should have been nominated for Social Network, but that's neither here nor there, Nick.
Do you have a huge man boner for Social
It's
Network?
so
So
good.
I gave it. I gave the MVP to Jeremy Renner. I also gave the LVP to not to Jeremy Renner, but to Jem.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Because he goofs, dude. He really goofs some stuff up.
Yeah,
he's really
goofs,
sloppy.
But at the same time, he's like, hey, dude, if I'm not going back to prison, he's like, we hold court in the streets, which is the sickest line. And then he's like, fuck you. And he goes out without like his gun is fully empty at that point.
Yeah. My other LVP is 50 Cent because if you got a block of wood to play that character, a block of wood with biceps, you could have pulled it off.
It's not 50 Cent, but I will say that the scene when he brings the like boyfriend in is amazing.
That's a great scene.
But at the same time,
scene.
like that boyfriend would never see that girl again. No amount of pussy would ever like matter.
No, but like 50's all of his lines are delivered.
I got a better least valuable player. The FBI. They lost in both of these movies because
They did.
the FBI was behind. It's Big Nick of the sheriff's department who seemed like not good at his job is the one who wins it all in the end of Den of Thieves, which is bullshit. I'm kind of mad that he beat Pablo Schreiber, but Yeah, that's
He's
the
the
LVP.
worst.
Okay, let's pick an all-star team. Pick five performances that you would put as like that you would face against any other movie.
Okay. I got Affleck, Renner, Hall,
We might be linked up.
Lively,
Ooh,
and then I'm gonna give number 5 to Gerard Butler.
interesting. Okay, I went Renner, Affleck, Rebecca Hall, Pablo Schreiber, because I think he's really, really cool, and then Chris Cooper. And I'll tell you why. Because Chris Cooper plays Ben Affleck's dad in the movie. And I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
Because our next award is called Six Man Award. And we're talking about the person who did the least, or he did the most with the least. Chris Cooper is in 3 minutes of this movie, and it is an insanely good performance. And I'll tell you, there have been people in the movie Network. 2 people were nominated. Network is an amazing movie. 2 people were nominated. Each, I would say combined, they were in 9 to 10 minutes of that movie. Warren Beatty or Ned Beatty was one of them.
Yeah.
I would also say, like, Six Man, I could maybe give to Pete Postlethwaite, the guy who plays Fergalicious.
Yeah, so I was thinking either him or Blake Lively because she's really not in much of the movie.
She is really good, too. And I would say it's almost overacting, but it's, like, great overacting.
It's really good for what it needs to be because it makes you instantly think about her because she looks like Blake Lively and also acts like that. And then she goes away for a while, and then John Hamm brings her back, and you're like, oh.
Yeah, and then she's so good in that scene, and it's actually the one time, well, there's a couple times, but it's one of the main ones when you see that John Hamm actually isn't an asshole. Because it's interesting that he's written into a character you're not supposed to root for the good guy in the town. But anyways, what about comeback player of the year? Like, what performance just changed?
Gerard Butler.
Yeah, well, because you were texting me when you first started it, and you were like, Gerard Butler is so bad in this.
Dude, I hated him. I mean, I still just hate the character. I think it's a very poorly written character. But his performance, because he's like, what is he, Scottish?
Yeah, he's
Irish?
I think he's Scottish.
I mean, he does a pretty decent California.
Oh, definitely.
He does a really good,
I think it's because he lives in Malibu.
He's like an Angels fan. That's what he reminds me of.
Oh, yeah. He does look like an Angels fan. Yeah, I
Just like
I think I put down O'Shea Jackson Jr., but
sorry
I don't think
to my friends who are Angels
Oh,
fans.
actually, O'Shea Jackson Jr.'s performance does get better as the movie goes on. I might switch this to Blake Lively because I think that Blake Lively, it's more like a comeback in my own mind after we did A Simple Favor. Just going back to this and just being like, holy shit, Blake Lively was actually really good.
She could act. She's got some chops.
Yeah. All right. Do you have an Infantropin award for the dumbest moment?
Oh, dude. I mean, most of the stuff that I couldn't pick one thing that Big Nick says, but the food here sucks. We come here for the ass.
Yeah. How did he
line? I was like, shut up, man.
How did
Just,
he even
shut
know
up.
that was his girlfriend in that scene? I don't fucking know. Yeah, I'm gonna put the hotel room.
Oh no,
scene.
another dumb scene is when he bangs the.
How does he not know that it's a setup?
I don't know. And then he wakes up in his he didn't see any pictures. Did they scrub the place
No, but it's so interesting because he's like there. One really good
How
scene
did
I
they
forgot
do
to talk
that?
about is the shooting range scene. Is really cool.
That's a good
and
scene.
it's awesome
Yeah,
that there's
yeah.
this they are these two heavyweights going against each other, and then you get to the point where Gerard Butler fucks his girlfriend, and he's actually scared in that scene. He's not cocky about it. He's like, oh fuck, I fucked this guy's girlfriend, and then you find out that Pablo Schreiber pawned his girlfriend off.
Yeah,
and then dies the next
asked
day.
her, asked her to do that, but then he also must have gone to such lengths to make it as though his apartment was not his apartment.
Yeah.
He must have taken all the pictures down.
I mean, dude, he was
taken
in
everything out of
he was
his
just in
own
prison for a while. I don't think there was a lot in that apartment.
But what about his clothes and stuff? His cologne and
I
his
think Gerard Butler
toothbrush
was
and...
gonna be pumped, drunk as shit, hooking up with someone that had a. He's a horrible human being in it. He's really,
Yeah,
really
okay,
a bad
I guess
person.
if he was like, "Oh, this is my
Fucking
boyfriend's
a stripper.
place," he'd
I
be
don't
like,
think he's
"Sick."
gonna like. He's having sex with like a random stripper. I don't think he cares like if that person has a boyfriend. Also,
the
he's
worst, dude.
he's a wrecking ball who says we don't like put you in jail. We shoot you in the face. So that's why I'm gonna
Yeah,
say
I don't even bring my
the
cuffs.
hotel room scene it is ludicrous. Like when O'Shea Jackson Jr. wakes up in the hotel room and they have girls in there. Why do they even have girls there when they're going to interrogate him? And then it's just like, it's like the least believable cop scene I've ever seen. So that's an Infant Troop Award.
Yeah, that scene's pretty bad.
Best moment, it's pretty much like all the heists in the town. And then, the scene when they go and beat up those random guys is really cool. It's terrifying.
That's a great scene. The chase scene was my pick for that one.
Do you have any recommendations?
Everyone should watch Dave.
Yeah.
Gabe and I
it's
just
so
watched that
good.
today. It has nothing to do with these two movies.
I got a few that have to do with these movies, but I do.
But go out and watch Dave. Things I'm on right now are Dave.
Ozark.
Ozark. We should just have an episode, like a mini episode, where we just talk about Tiger King.
Oh, dude.
We should do Tiger King versus something else.
Tiger King versus Joe Dirt. Okay, I got some movie recommendations if you're looking for some like more not sophisticated, but like artsier heist movies. You should watch The Old Man and the Gun. If you're a fan of Robert Redford, it's really good. It's like basically a send-off. There's literally a montage scene that is a send-off to all of his performances. It's good. American Animals is an awesome movie. It's about these like college kids who steal this like really expensive book from this like one of those like special libraries at a school, like one of those historical libraries. And it goes back and forth between being literally being a documentary and the movie. Like they're interviewing the people as the movie is going, and it's awesome. And then another one is Hell or High Water. It's like an incredible movie, and everyone should see that if you haven't. It was nominated for Best Picture. That's it for me. I don't know what we're doing
Cue
next
the
week.
music.
We could do E.T. versus Super 8, or we could try to do Jurassic Park versus Jurassic World. Either way, it's going to be so fun, you guys. Social media, you should follow us there. Instagram.com/facingoffpod. And you should especially go there if you're looking for recommendations for things to watch while we are all isolating and social distancing. I put out a list of Netflix movies that are available, and I'm going to do the same for Amazon and Hulu because I love you all so much. And you could also follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/facingoffpod. Good distraction from all the shitty news. And then you could send us emails. It will read your emails. Oh my God, you'll be like a celebrity. It will read your email on a podcast. That's amazing. facingoffpodcast@gmail.com. Nick, do you have a send-off?
Close the bridge.
Hey man, I'll see you again, this side or the other.
Close the fucking bridge!